Andy Lou. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm good. Did you know
Oh no.
two years ago, we're like a week away from our 2-year anniversary of the first Playback watch party?
Let's go.
Do you remember what we watched?
No. What did we watch? Oh,
Warriors Nuggets preseason.
no.
Perfect, because we got Adam Mares coming on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I know you remember this, you're just being a dick about it. We switched to the Dodgers Cardinals wild card game just because it was like, it was a preseason game, and that one was tied in the 9th. And we had to go over there. It was a good time. It was a really good time.
I do. That was amazing. That was the great thing about, and look, I'm a Playback guy because you're my fucking friend, and I love it. And we've got some great fucking news coming that I'm gonna let you announce. But it's like watching it with your boys, right? Like I'm getting older. I'm gonna be married by the end of this year, right? And I don't get to hang out with my friends as much.
You never leave the house again, brother.
That's my point, right? Like I don't get to go to my boy's house and just watch a game on a Wednesday night. That's not going to be there anymore for me moving forward. So we've got Playback.
And so I think most of the diehard listeners know I work full time at Playback. I've been there for almost 2 years at this point. And, I was really enamored with the company when we did the watch party, and one thing progressed to another. And the general idea was we're trying to build kind of the best place to watch sports and hang out for sports communities online. And it started with watching games, and we're trying to grow it out from there. And we did. And so now Playback allows us to record live podcasts there, similar to what we're doing right now on YouTube. And so starting next week, Monday, October 2nd, first night of training camp, knock on wood, Draymond does not punch anyone that day, we will be live on Playback doing light years the way we're doing it right now. And our goal is to do all our pods on Playback. Now, what that means, since I know most of you listen after the fact, nothing will change for you. We're going to record it on Playback. It's going to go on the pod feed that you listen on Apple, Spotify, wherever it may be. It'll be there in the morning. You'll know no difference in terms of what we're using to record it. And if you watch us on YouTube, I'll post the video on YouTube just the same way. But for those of you who want to participate live, we're doing it on Playback. And I urge you to, because the one thing we can do on Playback that we cannot do on YouTube, that you and I text about, I want to say like every 2 weeks, is take live callers. It's like, it's going to be a hybrid of the Spotify live days and like the classic YouTube pods we do, where we can bring the goons on. Everyone can sound off. When Steve Kerr blows a game against the Orlando Magic in November, we can take it to Ryan. We can take it to Luke in Australia, whoever it may be. They can tell me why everything's going downhill. It doesn't matter, but we want to make a more community focused show and have some fun with it.
Yep. I'm with you. That last part is crucial. I think that's like kind of been one of the things that you and I have been like truly, truly hankering for, that we want to bring back. And, people can listen to it on mobile app, right? You don't have to be in front of your, you don't have to do a whole thing. Just turn on your phone, dude. Check your Twitter, check your X, and go listen to us at the same time, right? Same thing as always. We'll be here after every game. I mean, Sam will be here after every game. I'll be here like 94% of the games. You know how it goes. But yeah, man, I'm pumped up. Let's go.
Yeah, you're on the Iguodala plan. Hopefully like the 2016 Iguodala plan, not the 2023 Iguodala plan.
Or else you'll see me 30% of the games. But the 30% still pretty good. Still pretty good.
Yeah, we'll take it. So Steve Kerr and Mike Dunleavy talked to the media today. And it's kind of curious that they did it a week before camp started. Part of me was all conspiratorial that they were trying to like announce something and get away with it. But like, word is there's just some conflict at Chase, so they just got ahead of the media. And we'll play back some of the stuff right now. But I think my high level take is boring. Didn't really say anything. Right. You or I didn't know. We did get another buzzword, and it's Andy's favorite word: connectivity. Oh,
It is because I like what the word actually means, and why they like it. I just didn't know they were looking to unveil that today. That was their big thing. They didn't unveil anything else. It wasn't like, oh, we've got a trade or we signed Usman Garuba. No. Connectivity. Hashtag connectivity.
how can you have connectivity when you also have optionality, Andy? It is funny because like what do they mean by connectivity? Steve Kerr would tell you that part of the reason last year went sideways is because, Jordan Poole wanted to do his own thing. They weren't connected as teammates. Honestly, vibes we generally don't associate with the Warriors, but they had a season like that, right? It happens. They weren't connected, right? So I get what he's trying to go. It's like we need to be more of a team, and they haven't announced it, but like I feel so confident that 14th or 15th roster guy is going to be like a Juan or a Kent Bazemore type whose like basic job is to just be a bench vibes guy.
Correct.
Like there's a lot of like, bringing in veterans like Corey Joseph and Dario Saric, who I think will play for them, bringing back GP2, just like good teammate guys. Right. Yeah.
And I think that's probably the reason why Dwight Howard wasn't signed. And, I'm looking at the comments here. Yeah, perfect timing from Douglas, right? I'm so glad they didn't sign Dwight Howard. You got to assume that was the reason why. I'm sure the players wanted him. I mean, it was reported that the players wanted him. But I think when you're Steve Kerr and Mike Dunleavy, the two guys that talked today, that was what, number 2 biggest flaw last season? I would say number 1's probably injuries and absences of key players. I would say that's number 1, obviously. But number 2, yeah, man, like these guys didn't like each other. They lost every road game. That's a big reason why. Like I think about the Giants who have collapsed in the second half. They're 4-26 on the road, Sam. 4-26. They were in the playoffs, and now I don't know what they're doing. And partly to me is that's team chemistry, man. Anytime you can't win on the road, you guys don't trust each other. You guys don't like playing with each other. I think that's what they're trying to fix this season, which is ironic because Chris Paul is on the team. Ironic, and we get news today that Rodney McGruder is getting a training camp invite. But right, I think that's what they're trying to figure out when they say connectivity.
I do agree with you. Like losing on the road consistently, but winning at home. Like if you suck, you're just gonna lose everywhere. But if you're 30-11 at home, and then what were they? They were 11-30 on the road. Sorry, they had a better record than 30 wins at home. Yeah. That speaks to an interpersonal issue. That's not a talent issue. You can't be that good and that bad at the same time. And to your point, it was we all saw it. They get on the road, a team hits a shot, someone makes a bad foul, everyone rolls their eyes at each other and quits. That was every road game last year. Just infuriating to watch. And we don't need to rehash it. Draymond punched Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole held on to it for too long. Kuminga wanted to play. Wiseman wanted to, there was a bunch of different factors. It's all gone. The new year, time to flush it out. A week from now, they will start camp. And I think that's the big theme. And I'm honestly not surprised they were talking about it. That was the big theme today, which was forget about last year. Let's be connected. We need to work on our connectivity and just get back to being quote unquote the Warriors, right?
The more you say it, the funnier it is now that I think about it. But I mean, I assume Chris Paul is going to be a big part of it. I mean, they talk about it too. They talk about him being added as part of that. So that's the on-court connectivity.
He's in the group chat. They let us know he's in the group chat. Chris Paul officially in the group chat. Do you think do you think they have a separate side group chat that's just Steph, Draymond, and Clay?
Absolutely. That first game where Chris Paul waves off whatever play that they have and goes high screen pick and roll and then pull up mid range and they lose the game. Oh, Draymond's in that other group chat going off. He just in there talking about how, play the right way. Should have passed me. I hope that's not the case. Yeah. But hope that's not the case. But Steve Kerr had a pretty cool quote about some of the stuff, right? Including the Chris Paul texting stuff, which I thought was pretty funny. I don't know if we're going to get to those, but yeah.
I do want to play. So we're going to play a few quotes here. Okay. We'll lead with that one just because I think that one's hilarious. Here we go. We're going to pull it up here right now.
like Chris because he likes phone calls and not texts. So Chris is old school. He wants to talk, and we've had 4 or 5 great conversations this summer. One of the I remember a few years ago pulling him aside after Phoenix beat us in Phoenix, and I told him how much I admired him and his competitiveness and just his basketball intelligence.
Has Steve found his new Iguodala?
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, I like that.
I think he loves the fact that because underrated, they're both kind of dicks. Like we know Chris Paul is, but like same type of they're not as free flowing as like Steph and Draymond. You know what I'm saying? Like we all know Chris Paul's like a little tyrant, needs to control everything, is general, that sort of thing. Andre, more laid back personality, but in some ways has all those same characteristics. Was always the guy you could trust to not turn the ball over and that sort of stuff. So I kind of feel like this is Steve trying to warm up that relationship, because he's clearly going to ask him to come off the bench no matter what lying he does right now.
Yes, he does. And that was the biggest takeaway from me today, was that Kerr is getting ready. I know we're going to get some more quotes, but Kerr's getting ready. He's getting ready to go up to Chris Paul to ask him to say, "Hey, it's time, buddy." Also, Chris Paul's like 45, man. Of course he's not fucking texting. I mean, what are we doing here, right? That part doesn't surprise me, because I was talking to Risa the other day, and she was telling me about how like something wasn't funny, like some joke wasn't funny on TikTok, and I was just telling her like it's a Gen Z thing. Like, we're 32, babe. Like, we don't understand what is funny to these guys, right? It's just a funny thing when I think about Steve Kerr's probably thinking about Chris Paul calling him, instead of last season having to hear about Kuminga, post on IG some cryptic lyric by some random person that we don't know about how he doesn't like his role on the team. Like, that's how Gen Z kids talk, right? Versus Chris Paul, probably just call Steve Kerr mid-season and just tell him fuck off. Right? Like, hey, I'm not coming off the bench anymore, right? So I'm sure Steve Kerr appreciates that more than what some of these younger guys do.
What time do you think Chris Paul called him? Chris Paul strikes me as a call too early in the morning guy.
100%.
I'm still a millennial, so I'll just text you at like too early in the morning, and because you're younger than me, you'll just put me on ignore until you're ready to talk.
Mm-hmm.
But like the concept's there. Chris Paul he strikes me as a guy who calls Steve Kerr before 7 a.m. or a guy who calls after 9 p.m. Not supposed to call after 9 p.m. to someone with like a wife and kids,
Yeah, you think he's just like a no couth. He's just out here. He doesn't give a shit. He just 11:56 p.m. comes around and he's just ringing Steve with a double dial. He's coming in with a double dial like it's urgent. Steve picks up and Chris Paul's like, listen. And it's totally a necessary call too. He's probably talking about what type of defense that he should play 2 weeks from now, right, or something like that. So, it's Chris Paul. Honestly, that makes me like him more.
I really think the small ball lineup can work. These guys are soft. I can guard fours. I'm telling you. Sounds exactly like what Chris Paul would say. In terms of the Chris Paul, just general love fest, there's also this from Mike Dunleavy that we're going to play right now.
Have your veterans been around or been meeting, I guess, elsewhere together? How much has Chris been involved in that? And like, what are you seeing right now as far as how ready and hungry, your veterans seem to be?
Yeah, I've seen a great amount of connectivity this offseason. Meeting up in areas,
Shameless.
California, Las Vegas, what have you. Not only that, there's some times in August where we got young guys in. Steph was in. Chris Paul took a Southwest flight at 6 a.m. to be up here one day. So these guys are all in on making it work and us having a great season. So.
Tying back to the theme, connectivity, Chris Paul, the perfect professional, unlike Gen Z Jordan Poole. I'll give the Warriors credit when they have a narrative they want to get out there, they stick to it. It's been this all summer. Last summer, actually any of the last 10 summers, you don't hear about any of their workouts. And I promise you, this is not the first summer they've ever worked out together as a team. That would be very strange. This summer, you're getting all the inklings of Steph organized workout in LA, Steph organized workout in Vegas. Chris Paul is there, just partially trying to set the tone and get rid of like the bad vibes from last year, but also just let everyone know. You know?
It worries me a little bit just because, you know, I've seen James Harden do that, you know, Ben Simmons. I've seen a lot of these fake all-stars do that in the NBA. So it always worries me.
But they aren't posting it on IG yet. Like worry when Steph is posting it on IG.
That is true. That is true. Mike Dunleavy drops a Chris Paul got up on a 6 a.m. Southwest flight. Now, I'm curious because did he mean to say number one 6 a.m. flight because you and I were talking, the guy's up early, obviously because he's old. Southwest, is he a man of the people? Who flies Southwest? Chris Paul's net worth has got to be what, $500 million?
Can't even take Jet Suite X? Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, he can't fly United. Can upgrade a little bit to Delta.
Is he in boarding group? What boarding group is Chris Paul in?
Yeah. No, he's in boarding group A. He's up
actually, you know who Chris Paul is? Chris Paul is the guy who's asking everyone their boarding number to make sure he's in the correct spot.
Excuse me, I am 40. Are you 33 to 40?
I am B12, and excuse me, I'm moving past you. It's absolutely what's going on here.
I did that the other day, and I asked someone, "What zone are you in?" And they looked at me like I was fucking crazy. I was like, "What zone are you in?" They're like, "Zone 3," and I was like, "Oh, I'm zone 6." And they looked at me like, "Dude, what are you doing? Get the hell to the back of the line." I was just like, oh. "Listen, man, I'm just." People are really anal about like getting on a flight early or leaving a flight. Do you think Chris Paul gets up right away when the flight lands?
I might be a get up right away guy.
Oh,
so I can't.
Why?
I'm impatient. I get a little claustrophobic.
Oh, brother.
I'm old enough to admit that most people look at this as a character flaw on my behalf, but I am definitely a how fast can I get off this plane without like running over children and old ladies. So you know me. Am I a patient dude?
Come on. No, I'm a little surprised, but yeah, I mean, you know me. I'm sitting there until I'm gonna have to get until somebody tells me to get off. I'm just sitting on my phone the whole time. But it's always funny. I've seen people do. Chris Paul is definitely he's definitely telling people to take one from you. He's definitely telling people, hey. You know, gotta walk out here orderly, right? Everyone's gotta leave when their roles turn to leave. You know, Corporal Paul. God, it makes me more excited for Chris Paul and the season now.
I'm all in on it, and you know, there really wasn't much else to say in terms of the media availability today. It just felt like they're getting everyone ready for the Chris Paul experience, and you know, trying to make it work. So I feel like this is a good time to transition to our guest tonight from DNVR. Celebrating, you know, I'm going to give this ring an asterisk, but technically they won in Denver. Adam Mares, how you doing, my man?
That's disgusting.
Asterisk and all, man. I'm with it. I'm enjoying the convo. I don't think you should apologize for your Southwest take, though, Sam. I got to be honest. Like, I'll question people too if they're in front of the line. Like, oh, what, you know, people will try to sneak up 10 spots on Southwest. They're always trying to get ahead.
I hate that. I hate that. So that I hate that.
And then they act clueless. Like, oh, am I in the wrong? Like, yeah, you know, you're 40 spots in the wrong there. Get back. I'm so sorry. I did not realize. Come on.
I don't think I've talked with you about it in depth. And I know you well enough to know you have takes. So what are your thoughts on the Chris Paul Warriors experience here?
I feel like everybody is acting insane by trying to pretend this is normal. This is the weirdest development the NBA in the last like 10 years. And everybody's just like immediately went to, that's interesting. No, it's not interesting. This is insane. This is a like sworn enemy, a guy who I feel like there's no upside, to be honest. I feel like there's no upside for anybody involved, haters or lovers of the Warriors. That's how weird I think the Chris Paul signing is?
Oh, I think there's only upside for Warrior people, because anything they achieve, and like, let's be honest, no one's gonna like pat them on the back for a strong second round exit, you know. But like, let's say it works. Steph did it again. He figured a way out to help Chris. Like, there's no upside for Chris Paul here, honestly.
Right.
That's the way it looks to me, and that's where I think we're going to get a full season of Steve Kerr finding ways to give Chris Paul credit for every possible win, because he's, to your point, he said it during his jersey introduction. You could see how uncomfortable he was. He kind of made an offhand comment like, I can't believe I'm in the Warriors, that sort of thing. And it's like, we can't either, but we're gonna go with it, because it's all wins for us. For him, we'll see.
There's the Steph win. I feel like there's only the Steph win, which I know you guys well enough to know that's the ultimate win. That like is the thing.
The only win. It's the only type of win that matters.
So there's still the Steph win. Like getting 5 would be insane, right?
Sure.
But there is the weird thing about towing Chris Paul along for that, or worse, he actually elevates and is the reason you win, or a major impact on it. To me, there's the ultimate goal, winning a title, but there's also the narrative of how it happened. And to me, this one crosses those wires to where I'm like, I don't know. If it were me, I'm just saying, if it were me and Joel Embiid came to Denver, I wouldn't be like, oh, this is awesome. The arch rival of Jokic is here now. Yeah,
but I mean, he's in your and my age bracket, Adam. Like let's be honest here. He's playing. This isn't prime Chris Paul. He's 38. He'll be 39 in the playoffs. Like, I'll just be happy if he's not injured in the playoffs, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, given his track record, it's like Jason Kidd on the 2011 Mavericks type of stuff. You're gonna push back on that, and like, yes, there's a difference there, but it's like, what is he playing? 22 minutes a game, averaging 8 and 4. Like, he could be a valuable player for the team, but this isn't, throwing peak point guard of Team USA Chris Paul on the team.
It's still, I mean, to me, you're right. That would make it slightly worse, but he's not so old that he's just there to like be a locker room coach, right? He's going to be an impact player. And then the other part of this that I just wonder how you guys feel. I'm just spitting takes here. You guys can disagree. But the other thing I wonder is the 2015 Warriors and 2016 Warriors, to me, are probably the most likable team I've ever watched. The KD ones, supremely unlikable. 2022, you come back and it's like, wow, likable again, and they get it done. Then you go back to being unlikable. This is the most schizophrenic team for somebody that doesn't have any like invested interest. I'm just looking at this going like, we're back to the team I hate.
Do you really think Chris Paul, because like they didn't add, I can understand how getting Kevin Durant in his prime immediately is like, fuck these guys, right? Like, I understand that, but we're talking, I mean, this is more akin to the Heat getting Kyle Lowry, where you're just like, I know he's smart. I know he's like, he knows how to play basketball, but like, he's not moving, it's not the same player. And then the undercurrent of the Jordan Poole thing, like, we joke about optionality, but like, they're basically saying, if Chris Paul is a malcontent, like, we can trade him mid-season. That's essentially what they're saying. And like, there's a reasonable chance that happens anyway. I don't know. I don't view it the same way, even though undoubtedly he's a top 3 Warriors villain of the last decade. It's like him, LeBron, and James Harden pretty much.
Yeah. It's LeBron and then CP, and actually, either way. But I do think that other people don't necessarily care as much about. I don't think they necessarily care as much to hate Chris Paul. Hate is a strong word. Dislike Chris Paul as much as Warriors fans, though. I think other teams just tend to be like, yeah, I mean, he's good. He's kind of annoying. Maybe he's kind of a bit of a choker. But I think other than that, like, Chris Paul doesn't make the Warriors unstoppable like KD did. So I do think there's a little bit of other teams are waiting for him to maybe kind of ruin the Warriors, right? Other teams are kind of looking at this and saying, yep, this is rust to the Lakers. This is rust to the Lakers.
Do the Nuggets beat the Phoenix Suns if Chris Paul is healthy?
Oh, come off it. Just get out of here with
Yeah,
this.
okay,
man.
so
You're
you
up by
can't- you
30
can't-
points in game one.
You
Get out of
can't.
here.
So you can't possibly
No.
go with the Chris Paul's changing the calculus if you believe
No.
that. Huh?
This is a different type of annoying. This is what I'm saying. The KD one was, oh, they're too good now, annoying. That's
Yeah.
what made him unlikable.
Sure.
Chris Paul is unlikable for his own merits, not because he makes the Warriors like unassailable or unbeatable, just because he's so unlikable. To me, I'm with you guys. It's not a Warriors thing. I think most people are very polarized about Chris Paul, but the people that dislike him hate him and find him like he's a guy I just would really like to never win one. You know, I really would
agree.
like to.
I agree.
I was there, but I'm leaning in so much harder the other way because
You're
now
the
I've decided
You're the
winning one with Chris Paul where you can essentially take all the credit and it's actually
Yeah.
worse for him to win one this way than not win one.
Well, certainly,
It's like the next level troll.
well, it's like I don't care if Chris Paul wins one and it's with the Warriors, and I know that he's not the best player on the team and he's not like the guy or even the second guy or third guy, like that doesn't matter as much. But watching him win one, that first one when they played Milwaukee when they're up 2-0, and they were talking about how he was the MVP, point guard, you know what I mean?
Right.
All this,
Leadership.
and I was going to lose it. Leadership, that's what it was. And I was just, oh man, I was losing it. And when they lost 4 in a row, I think I cried. That was like the 4.5 championship. That was like the half one. You know, the Lakers won a half one. Like that was the half one. That was the half championship that we got watching Milwaukee win that one. It was great. It was great. But this version of Chris Paul winning one, I don't.
I'll tell you this. If I do think, let's say the Warriors win this year, I do think Draymond will immediately switch to backhanded compliments for the rest of Chris Paul's life. Like right now, he's like, I want to win one for him. I want to do this. And it'll immediately turn
that's
into
kind of a backhanded thing to say. Like, I want to win one for him. Like,
well, yeah, but it'll get even worse about like,
Right.
and we even helped Chris Paul. Like we even got
Right.
him, you know, this or that. It'll just become an insult the way you're saying. Sam.
In the event that everything goes well year one, because I actually think it will. I think Chris Paul has just a history of honeymoon period. Everyone buys in and then they
That's a good
slowly
point.
wear each other out. Also, Draymond has a history of that too. So somehow if this gets into year 2, they're absolutely fighting and it's going to be significantly worse than the Kevin Durant or Jordan Poole situation. But I guess putting that aside, I want to ask you this. So we do a big Warriors question every episode in our countdown to training camp starting. We're down to the final 3 right now. This week's question: will Chris Paul end the season on the Warriors?
ooh,
Adam, I'll let you go first. Then we'll go around the three.
I'll say I haven't really thought about this, to be honest, but I'll say yes. I mean, I just feel like this was a move that was made for them to try this style, try this option.
I'm gonna go, even though I don't think the move is gonna work. I'm relatively pessimistic on the move. It doesn't make sense to me. On the court, definitely not on the court. But I think he stays. When's the last time the Warriors made a big trade deadline move?
Yeah, but Bob's not the GM anymore.
I know.
Maybe Dunleavy is a little. He's been a little more decisive since he took over. Maybe he's a mid-season trade guy. Maybe he's a LeBron guy where he just wholesales the roster halfway through.
And I will believe that when I see that happen, because that'll also have to mean that somebody else is going to be there. There's just a lot of moving pieces, right? Like somebody's going to have to move. What are they going to get? OG Anunoby again? Is he on the contract talks again for the 50th time? So I think maybe
Miles Turner.
Do it. I don't think it'll work. That'd be a nice move. But I don't think so. But I also don't think it's because they're super successful at the move. I just don't think it's going to be possible for that move to be made. They'll wait till the offseason to trade him.
I was really trying to get you to take the opposite side because I don't want to go 3 across the board on it. So
logically, it makes sense.
I'll make the counter case. I think he's gone mid-season. I think the optionality will play out. I think actually it's going to be because of Kuminga. That's my take. I think Kuminga is going to be immature. The season won't. His season won't progress, and they're going to package the Chris Paul expiring Kuminga to get the player they actually want, the player they were unable to get for Jordan Poole because his value could not have been lower at the end of last season. And I'm not even going to name a name. I just think it'll be a wing type player. I don't even believe this take, but I had to throw. I had to say something different than to you because that's clearly what they're thinking. Their logic is, best case, it works out where he's kind of like this other dimension to their team, and he buys into coming off the bench and strength in numbers and blah blah blah. Worst case is, well, he's a huge expiring contract, and Jonathan Kuminga is attractive, and that's $36 million to play with to maybe acquire a player who fits more what we're doing. So
fair enough.
That's also why I can't be mad. It's not like they traded for 4 years of Chris Paul. It's like we'll either be laughing about it in 6 months or it'll work. So
do you think Draymond and Chris Paul though have the same they can't bite their tongue quality? And do you think it's possible a player like Kuminga, it just got doubled the vets yelling at him for things he knows? You know, when you make a mistake and you know it, and then the vet yells at you. Now you got two guys that just can't not tell you fucked up.
Yeah, but I will say in Kuminga's case, he played his best basketball next to Draymond, mostly because Draymond just spoon feeds him. And Chris Paul, another guy who's like, just cut. I'll get the ball where you want it, on a lob. And that's significantly easier for him than, all right, we're going to play our more motion offense. And, you have to be able to think about where Steph's moving at all times, which is kind of complicated, particularly for a young guy like him. So I don't know that that's actually going to be a hindrance on him because he's clearly athletic and he can clearly help the team in various ways. It's the thinking part of the game that's the issue for him.
Oh.
I don't know. Hey, I'm in a good mood, so we'll leave it there. Let's pivot this another way. This is why I actually wanted to have you on. How's your summer been since the Nuggets won it all?
Man, it's been good, but my big take is that the Nuggets had never gone that deep before, obviously, and it was exhausting, and it was the first time I was completely exhausted from basketball. I love basketball. I think I like it more than most people who cover basketball. I really like basketball. I was so sick of it from like all of July. I was just kind of out on basketball. So it was a weird sensation, but I think I'm back.
You were sick of basketball.
I was ready to not think about basketball for a while. I was ready to move away from it.
Do you remember, Andy, you remember the first Warriors deep playoff run? Like you just get exhausted having to be that on.
Yes.
And the stakes get so high, Our May was not that way. I was like, I know they're fucking losing to the Lakers.
I guess I knew too. We both did. It was so the thing about it is, and I was a lot younger back then, but the Warriors, here's how the Warriors championship seasons have gone, right? The thrills, right? So the first one is the first one. You just went through the first one. So the first one is unbelievable. Nothing is better than the first one. Haven't won one in 50 years. Then the second one, you're actually even higher. But now you have probably the greatest fall that we've seen in like 10 plus years, right? And then somehow you go even higher. Now everybody hates you, and you have the greatest basketball team of all time. You win two, but then you fall again because you lose two guys to horrific season-ending injuries. And then after 2 years, you win it again. So I think from my perspective, that's being tired. Right, when Nikola
he's calling you soft, bro.
When Nikola Jokic
he's like, one championship, one. Come on, man.
Well, he retires. He goes and plays with his horses for a year. Then he comes back and he wins a championship. You know what I mean? Like that. That's the drama that you need. That's really the top.
Wait, yeah. Where's the drama coming? Because no matter what happens, there's always someone who gets a little bit of the disease of more.
Oh yeah.
Year one with the Warriors was, or year two it was Draymond. Everyone remembers like him with the I am not a robot, trying to fight Steve Kerr, like all that sort of stuff. Obviously, last year, Jordan Poole and Draymond. That's a different story. Where's it coming for Denver this year? What's your?
I mean, Michael Porter would be the obvious answer, and I think there's a chance there. But I actually think it might be Michael Malone. I think he might be the guy most affected by the disease of more. I mean, you guys saw him at the parade. You guys saw him on ESPN. You saw him on McAfee show. Like the guy is kind of a star. He might be the most charismatic person on the roster, everything considered. And he is coming up on the end of a contract. He is pretty vocal about how much he'd like an extension. I kind of feel like this might be.
this season?
I think he has 2 years, but you
Okay.
never go into the lame duck year. Coach
Sure.
always get an extension going in.
unless
Steve
Steve
Kerr's going into the lame duck year.
Well, there you go. But I think I know it sounds like I'm joking, but I might be serious that I think Malone is the guy I'm most curious to see how he handles this year.
That's I like that one because man, we heard a lot from Mike. It reminds me because we had the Oregon coach. I don't know if you guys watch college.
Oh yeah,
football.
Dan Lanning.
Yeah, we had Dan. I don't even know who that guy is. What happened to Chip Kelly?
First
I don't
time
know
I've seen
football.
first time I've seen his face.
Yeah, I was
just
like,
to be
who is this
clear.
guy? He's got the stash on. I found out he coached Georgia, so he's not even a West Coast guy. Anyway, he comes on. He talks about, and for people that don't know, he talks about in front of the cameras. He's all talking about, this isn't for clicks. They play for clicks. We play for what was it? We play for wins or something else, right?
Yeah.
There. He was talking about, and it's like, dude, you go to Oregon. You guys don't pay for anything. You guys are one of the softest teams in college football every season. You guys don't win ever, right? But you know why he did that. You know why he did that. He knew he was going to get in front of the cameras. He knew he was going to get famous. Now I know what the guy is, right? So it did feel like a little bit. Now we all knew Mike Malone, but he was
Maybe nationally,
nationally, right? So that's part.
I don't think most Laker fans knew who Mike Malone was until he started calling them out.
Right.
And now they just can't get him out of his head.
But you know what? This is the thing I think about. Like Monty Williams just got all that money, right?
Sure.
It's not always who's the best coach. There's a lot of just like the charisma matters and are you on the radar? Quiet, good coach is almost in one category. And Malone, I really mean this sincerely because I don't think he's playing a part. He's really charismatic. He's hilarious. He's incredibly clear of thought in that he's one of those guys that he doesn't have, I don't think, complex thoughts, but he just knows what his take is on anything. Everything he always, and that's like attractive to listen to when a guy has a snappy answer.
Former Warriors coach, by the way, Mike Malone. There, we can relive the Mark Jackson. Mike Malone.
No, we will not. No, we will not.
I just think he probably sees a lot of money out there that he's going to be like, if he just becomes a little more famous, a little more out there, I think there's money to be made.
But like moving away from a Nikola Jokic, I mean, that is the best player in the NBA. He might be the freaking best.
Yeah, but let me throw some numbers at you. So Monty got 13 a year, Pop got 16 a year, Steve Kerr, which 17. we had it on the rundown, but we just kind of ignored it at this stage. He hasn't signed a contract, but it doesn't sound like we have to worry about it this day. At least I would assume if it was contentious, we'd get a nice like Woj leak at this point that something's going on. So my point is there's no way Steve's getting less than 15. He's getting more than Monty. Maybe he doesn't get as much as Pop, but honestly, he'd probably get more than Pop.
I mean,
my guess.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is when coaches are starting to push 20, that's a lot of money. And what's Mike Malone? Probably in the 5-6 range at this point. You're talking about, his grandkids being rich. He never has to think about anything. Like that's NBA money. That's not the assistant coach money. So
there's also power and years and all of those things. And I think I just think Malone, I've always said this, he's a very good coach. I have a great leader, a great coach. He's also a great politician, a really good one. And I just think he looks at this and goes, my IQ score has never been higher. My team is the favorite to win the title. This is my moment to seize more, to take more. Maybe I should be making some personnel decisions. Maybe I should be, a little bit more involved in big decisions around this company. And I just think he'll know how to play that.
That's never great. You never want head coaches to start making personnel decisions. Trust me that's never great when they start to go outside what they should be doing. All of a sudden, you're getting guys that are 36. Taj Gibson's on the team all of a sudden. So I don't even know why I said
Chris Paul's on the team. Anyway,
sure, exactly.
What is all right? So if you're ranking your biggest concerns for Denver this year, take injuries off the board because that's the obvious one for any team. What are your top concerns for the Nuggets repeating here?
Depth is number one. They've got 6 guys that are proven. Christian Brown being the 6th one who was there last year through the playoffs. I think he's going to be great this year. But after that, people don't realize this. Denver's guys behind Christian Brown, number 7, 8, 9 in the rotation are going to be Reggie Jackson, going to be Zeke Naji, and they're going to be Peyton Watson, who's only played 300 minutes in his NBA career and only about 600 minutes between college and his
You
rookie
guys
year.
like him though. I've heard him a lot. You guys like him, but right.
I mean,
But he's young. He's young.
this is like Warriors like Kuminga and this
Yeah,
or
sure.
that, where it's like if you're staking your championship on this guy's going to make the leap, the 100th percentile leap we expect. So for me, I do like him a lot, but you know how hard it is to win a title, and he probably needs to be the 8th best Nugget, and that means he needs to play 75% of playoff games, like 10 to 15 minutes.
15 minutes, yeah. Okay.
I agree. By the way, I wanted to come in. I looked around. I wanted to come in with a take that maybe you wouldn't say. That was number one for me. Outside of the Michael Porter Jr. disease and more, like that's my big thing. I mean, Sam and I have talked about it. But the other thing, because I was looking at the Nuggets roster, and I think they're the best team. I think they should be the favorite. I'm sitting here, but I'm like, damn, they better be healthy, right? They better be healthy for a whole. I mean, the Warriors do too, duh. But the Warriors do have a lot of good players. You can argue how good is Corey Joseph at this point in his career, right? How good is some of these guys?
Dario Saric.
Saric, how good is he? But yeah, I mean, like Zeke Naji, man, I'm sure, like, you know, he was good in fantasy basketball for a couple of weeks when he got minutes, but like, I don't know how good he is in real life and whether he can, you know, so yeah, it's an interesting one. But Christian Brown, I think everybody loves because he just knows how to play basketball. He's like an Austin Reeves type, but I know how to play.
Are you concerned about any teams in the West?
Not really, to be honest.
Wow.
I like that.
We joke, man, and maybe you guys had the same experience, but
Sure.
you know, the Nuggets were 57-year losers. They win one, and now I just feel like they'll win 7. I've gone from I think we're losing every game to I think we're winning every game now. But the truth is, I expected when Dwight Howard was brought in, I kind of thought like, oh, they're going to sign him. That makes a lot of sense. You need to just have some bodies. And maybe the plan is to sign guys like that or Boogie or something later on. But when I look around at the front courts in the Western Conference, I'm just unimpressed. I know Looney and Draymond I have a lot of respect for, but I'm just like, I don't know, man. That takes a lot to go at Yoke. And teams didn't really tool up the way I expected them to this offseason.
Hear me on that one. You're not going to beat Jokic playing his own game. That's just, I think this is true of every great player. I think when the Warriors broke into the scene, everyone tried to play like them and tried to match Steph. Newsflash, you're not going to be able to do it. And so to beat the Nuggets, you probably have to go the other way. You probably have to zig when they zag. That was always the issue with the Warriors. Like anyone who got into a contest of running against the Warriors would inevitably lose. The teams that bothered them could slow it down and just kind of pound them in the half court, typically LeBron, right? So I'm looking at the Nuggets and I'm going, look, Jokic is going to do what he's going to do. He's maybe the best player in the league. I've never really seen him have a bad series ever. He's going to get away with whatever he wants to do. The way you beat them is spread them out and kind of expose some of their limitations defensively. That's your best shot. And that's where I do think the Warriors are always going to be a little bit of a matchup issue for them. And
Sure.
maybe it's 1 year too late. Maybe it's not. But I look at Denver and I still see how are they guarding when Steph goes high pick and roll the entire time with Draymond.
If Anthony Davis, who's the league's best defender, cannot hold a candle to Nikola Jokic, there's really what's that?
Hopeless.
Yeah, right. There's really nothing that anybody could have done. I don't think like to maybe you just get Dwight to foul him 6 times, but that's just not how the Warriors play, right? In that series, I really don't think Dwight is even playing that much. So I agree with that point with Sam. Like nobody you can get unless you bring back. We had this argument unless you bring back prime Tim Duncan is going to give Nikola Jokic trouble when Nikola Jokic is on offense. The only thing you can do to him is have
try to wear him down on the other end and hope
exactly.
and hope that some of those 8-foot push shots that feel like he hits 90% turn into 70% shots because he's a little tired.
God knows the Austin Reeves pick and roll against Jokic wasn't scaring wasn't scaring Big Yoke, wasn't running him into the ground, not the greatest offensive team.
The only reason I don't know either about this. The thing that I think about is Denver had a 118.5 offensive rating in the playoffs last year, and they went against a lot of good defenses.
Sure.
And arguably a lot of like Miami's a good defense. They're versatile. Lakers obviously have LeBron and AD, Gobert out there. So they had some good defenses, and Denver just carved them up. So I look at that and I go, the plan of it makes sense, spread them out and try to score. But Denver so consistently scores 120 in a playoffs against the best defenses that outscoring them is, I mean, Golden State can do it, but it would take. You guys watch that Sun series. Devin Booker shot 90% from the floor.
Yeah. I would just say the two teams you called out, Miami and the Lakers, are not good offensively. Neither one of them are like, Bam, Anthony Davis. Like, there's a lot of players there like every team would like to have because they're good defenders, but they just can't hang with Denver. So I don't know. It's my thought that, zig a little against them and just take your chances because they're the best team and they're proven best team until they're,
the Warriors are going to have to turn back the clock if they're, and I agree with Adam in that, like, if I were him, I would be feeling pretty good if that matchup that happened. Cause Draymond's 30 plus, he's on the wrong side of 30. Clay, what did he look like in the postseason? Right. And even, I mean, Steph is Steph. So actually not even Steph, cause he can still go nuclear, but you're talking about two guys that back in the day were taking over a playoff series and doing things like that. So nowadays, I don't think you're getting that, which is probably why they got Chris Paul, because, he's not washed up, so. Can't wait till that happens. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's end on this topic because I wanted Adam's opinion on this, but the only thing going on in NBA news right now is the Damian Lillard saga. I was just thinking about it today. Is Dame actually good enough to elicit this level of drama? Because I know we all have fatigue over it, but I'm just sitting here going, all right, so Dame gets what he wants in Miami. Does that make them better than Denver? And my answer is no. Does it make them? I don't know. I just don't know that it actually shifts the odds that much. Like, obviously he's better than Kyle Lowry and Gabe Vincent, but I don't know. Let's hear it out.
First of all, I think it's a leading question, and I'm 100% with you on this. I've thought this for years. There are certain athletes that get too much criticism, like every little minor thing, and then everything's thrown at them. And then there's guys that get nothing. And Dame, to me, 2 years ago, lost in 6 to the Nuggets that had Facu Campazzo starting. He was the starting point guard, a matchup head-to-head. And that, to me...
He's like 5'6". Yeah.
At 5'6", not even in the league anymore. He played 1 year and then left. Austin Rivers, all this. And by the way, people don't know this because you have to be super close to the situation to remember it. Denver only lost one of those games because there was a protest. It was in Portland. There was a protest in their hotel till like 6 a.m. Team gets blown out of the water on like no rest. But so what I say that to say, it was a beatdown. Nobody talks about it. In his prime, Damian Lillard going up against a team missing 2 starters that was a 6 seed and they lose. So to me, Dame has always been this guy who, he's one of the worst defenders in the NBA. I think he's one of the harder guys to build around. Like, if you have him out there, I know it's the guard spot. It's hard to be good defensively when your point of attack and pick and roll defender is that bad. And then I think he's actually kind of hard to play with offensively, just in the way that your offense is he's going to be I don't know if he's the number 2 guy offensively on a team. He's going to be your number 1 guy, so you got to build everything, craft everything around him. So I'm with you on that. He's a really good player, but
who would you rather have?
Are you just calling him just Trae Young with good marketing? Is that what I'm hearing right now?
I almost compared him to Trae Young about the defensive part. So there's some. I like Dame a lot, by the way. I like him a lot, but he is, to me, a tier below the kind of guy you trade the farm for. And when you sign an extension and then demand a trade, I don't think a team. It's so hard to give up max contracts worth of salary and retain a good enough roster to absorb you and win a title. I don't think he's good enough to actually do that.
Take away contract, take away, whatever, one postseason, Damian Lillard or Jamal Murray. Who would you rather have?
I mean, people have thought I was crazy about this for the longest time. Jamal Murray, you have to watch him all the time to really get it. I wouldn't take that many guys. I think the line for me of where I stopped taking guys over Jamal is right at Devin Booker. And like, if you told me in a game 7 who am I taking, I'm taking Jamal 100 times out of 100. Jamal, for whatever reason, cruises through every regular season and then plays like a monster in the postseason every single time. The guy's a winner.
That's fair. I see it. If I were a Nuggets fan, I would say the same thing.
Yeah, I have nothing to contribute there. I'm gonna add to that because he's consistently on my list. Well, no, he's consistently on my list of guys who I'm like, he's significantly better than his numbers. And I don't care for you to throw, some sort of like Raptor rating at me because he's better than that guy, right?
He also plays off ball really well. Like him and Jokic have incredible chemistry. He plays off ball. Like that's not normal. You don't see that from guys.
I mean, I was talking with you about this before the show, Andy, but it's like, is there any other guard other than Steph who you're comfortable as a first option on a title team? And I would say the answer is no. I'm just going to complete my own sentence. So then you have to look at guys, all right, who can actually contribute in that number 2 role and take over as needed. And to your point, Jamal Murray significantly more comfortable in that role than someone like Trae Young, who's going to average 8 to 10 more points per game than him this year again. So that's to kind of come into it too. We can end on that.
Love Murray.
We'll give a little nuggets of Adam. Appreciate you so much for coming on. Anything you want to plug on the way out?
Not really. DNVR cover Nuggets stuff. I see some of my Nuggets guys in there, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
DNVR for Nuggets.
Appreciate it, man.